Romney wins Iowa with Santorum and Paul nipping at his heels. What does this mean for the Republicans moving forward? I'm Allen Barton. Stand by for Front Page. Joining me in studio, Tim Cavanaugh, managing editor of Reason.com, and Terry Jones, associate editor for Investors Business Daily. Terry, we'll start with you. Why don't we get a little one-on-one here and go, how does this caucus work? What does it mean? What does it actually mean in terms of, like, what's the difference between this and a primary? I bet most people probably don't even know.
Yeah, it's a very strange thing. It's not a direct Democratic vote as you would as you're used to thinking of it. It's actually it's organized down to the precinct level, and people go into a little room and. There's a lot of retail politicking, and they actually literally write down the name of the person they want on a sheet of paper and hand it in, and then it's counted at the end of the night. And also, it's not it doesn't exclude Republicans. It could be, you can be an independent in caucus, you can be a Democrat in caucus, you can be anything in caucus. So it's an interesting.
So it has an appeal probably from the idea of that retail politicking, guys being able to go into shops and stores and restaurants and talking with like the folks.
Yes.
And it has that more of an impact.
But you also have to realize it actually does not pick the delegates. That's done later by party bigwigs who. Are
so it's primarily symbolic,
yeah.
But it sort of starts the season. Tim, first casualty, of course, Michelle Bachmann pulled out. Any take on that? Long past due? Sorry to see her go, or what?
Nobody's long past due before you're at before you're at the Iowa caucus. I mean, this is when you start losing people. She had a moment. She surged. I was happy to hear that she was reading Ludwig von Mises. I hope she continues to do so as she plies her political future. But yeah, I mean, she wasn't catching fire, and she's with a lot of folks like Huntsman and Perry and so forth who are not catching fire.
Yeah. Terry, now, of course, the big news was, of course, Santorum's strong showing. Now, there are two schools of thought. One was that he did great at the retail politicking. He visited all the 99 precincts. He practically lived there for 3 months and did a lot of hard work. And then there's the school of thought, I think, people like Dick Morris think that, well, he was just the last person standing who was not Romney. They sort of went through this series of people who they threw their support behind, and then kind of those people fell, and his timing was just another day. They would have found someone else's support other than Santorum. What do you think?
Well, I think both sides are somewhat right in this. I mean, he did do a lot of organization in Iowa. I mean, and as you mentioned, he visited all 99 counties. It's a state with a lot of evangelicals, and he has great appeal for them, so he reached out to them a tremendous amount. But the fact of the matter is there was a kind of a Pez dispenser quality to who was going to be next to challenge Romney, and each time one of them popped up, they got gobbled up. Yeah. So he was the last man standing in that sense, and ended up being the beneficiary, really.
What do you think of Ron Paul, the whole phenomenon there? There's a lot of talk that he could win this thing. He threw a huge amount of money. His supporters are rabid dog, incredibly, supportive people of his cause. What do you think of what's going to happen with Ron Paul?
I prefer motivated Americans to rabid dogs, but yeah, it's interesting. The third place finish was certainly, if you look at the total vote counts, I mean, Romney's exactly where he was in 2008 prior to getting his tuchus handed to him by John McCain, and Ron Paul is more than double where he was in 2008. So it's a huge gain for him. I believe the real winner in Iowa was Barack Obama. If they go up with Mitt Romney, they are not going to win. He proved that in 2008.
That Romney would not win. The Republicans won't win if they go with Romney, is what you're saying?
I believe so, and that's why you're seeing, as you said, the Pez dispenser is really a reflection of this constant lack of enthusiasm for Romney, this knowledge that we're putting forward a loser. Isn't there any, God help us, isn't there anybody else we can put up there?
Terry, one of the ones who sort of, his Pez popped a little early, Newt Gingrich, who was nowhere last summer and then had this incredible resurgence based on his campaign, his debate performances, and then got whacked by, some people would say it was negative ads. Some people would say it was ads putting his record out in front of the people, that he has a long record in a lot of things he's said. What do you think of Gingrich?
Yeah, he does have a long record, and he's got to expect that. I mean, he's going to take some shots. This is, after all, a campaign for the presidency, not tiddlywinks. And he's got to expect he's going to take some shots to the head from this thing, forearm shivers, as they call them in football. But, the fact of the matter is, last summer, people were pleasantly surprised. He came out, he was very statesmanlike. He said our common foe is Obama, not each other. He did very well in the debates. But recently you've seen a sort of a Nixonian version of him where he's been a little
PO'd on
sour and angry and peeved, and that's not an appealing side of him, and I don't think he fully understands. It's not going to sell well.
Just following up with you, Tim, in terms of your viewpoint of Romney. Romney is a lot more conservative than Kaine was, and Obama beat Kaine by not that much. I mean, it wasn't this overwhelming, incredible landslide Reagan-esque victory. And one would say, a lot of people are saying, like, Romney's a lot better than McCain, and Obama is in a much weaker position, having failed in his policies and having still a weak economy. Why are you so pessimistic on that?
I am second to nobody, except maybe my colleague Matt Welsh, in saying negative things about John McCain, but I don't think that you would have gotten an individual mandate under a McCain presidency. You got that under an Obama presidency, and the bad seed of that entire future that we're all going to have was planted in Massachusetts by Mitt Romney. I don't think by any stretch of the imagination you can say Mitt Romney is a conservative or that he's anything else other than Johnny Bravo who fits the suit.
All right, what Johnny Bravo, I like that imagery right there. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. To see more of Tim Cavanaugh, visit reason.com. You can find more of Terry Jones, of course, at ibdeditorials.com. For Tim and Terry, I'm Allen Barton. You've been watching Front Page.